Hey, folks, here we are. It is Wednesday, September 2nd, and we are about to go live. Everything is a go, and I can see it on here. I don't know, this journey is challenging every day to actually be able to see what's going on, uh, watching the computer screen, and then realizing that yesterday, there I was, but I never moved. So it froze and never got recorded. But fortunately, I have my uh, podcast going here. So we're recording the audio of this presentation. And it will go forward. So it appears like everything is in place today. Going to be an interesting day. I want to continue our discussion about advanced prosperity principles. And we're going to talk about some strategies and things around them and why they're important. But remember, all these ingredients that I have been sharing with you maybe are challenging to you because all these ingredients have to go into place in order for you to achieve your maximum success, your success in life, finding that thing, that joy, that thing that you're supposed to be doing, that unique ability that we all have in going forward. As we start every day, I want to make sure that we send our heartfelt prayers out today for all those that are affected by the COVID. Every day there is more and more contradictory information coming from these people. It's like the story that I tell about the smartest people in the world in 1968, the Club of Rome, predicting that the world was going to run out of oil by 1993. And I look at that movie in my mind and I see all of these dominoes that have been knocked over or created because of these so-called smart people. And now we have more so-called smart people driving this COVID-19 train, and where it's going and what it's going to come from, I don't know. But again, our prayers go out to everybody that has been impacted in some way by this stuff. And especially our prayers go out for those of you that have lost loved ones, and prayers for those loved ones lost. It is so important to keep all of those people in our prayers, because I believe the prayers of everybody is going to bring us out of this thing when it's all over and finished. And it appears today they're talking about that the numbers are starting to slip back and wane away. So hopefully this is the beginning of it, turning back. But anyway, we talked yesterday about certainty and actuarial. Those are unique, and they are really challenging, I believe, for some people, because remember, we have the blueprint, and the blueprint starts out talking about what should our goal be. If we think of typical planning, the goal is some dollar amount in the future. How much do I want a month when I turn age 67 or 70 or whenever that day is, that I no longer have and apply my human capital. My human capital in my younger days, when I'm younger, is like a bond. It's income. It's that steady stream of income that comes in. So my human capital is like a bond. As we get older, there is less and less human capital. So we need other capital in order to replace our human capital someday. So as we think about retirement in typical planning, if I put on my typical planning hat with all the education that I've had, it would be about, well, how much money a month do you need at age 67 or 65 or 70, whenever it is that magic day that you believe you're going to retire? What is the monthly income you would need? And honestly, folks, I've never met anybody that felt comfortable answering that question, because how do you answer that question? Look, 10 years ago, 5 years ago, 20 years ago, what did you earn annually back then? And here's the question, because typical planning if you don't have a financial number for them at that retirement date, they say, oh, don't worry, we'll figure it out. And what they do is they take your income today and they say, well, the history of inflation for at least the last 30 years has averaged around 3%. So we're going to take your income today and project it to age 65. And that's how much money you'll need. And ongoing into the future, you're going to need an ever increasing income all the way out. Now, all of that is truth. I go along with all that. However, the numbers cannot be and won't be correct because we can't assume so many of those answers as we look at the future. So it brings me to my conclusion that whatever your position or lot in life is today, whatever your income is today, you have to follow the 4 rules of the balance sheet my brain just went right by me. So in our planning, goal number 1, I want to save a minimum of 20% of my annual income. Now, if I make more than $200,000 a year, that number increases. If I make $300,000 a year, I should be saving 30% of my income and so forth and so on. So I want to save the most income I can save. Number 2, initially, my first goal is to accumulate capital, accessible capital, equal to 50% of my household income. Now that number matches with what typical financial planning says, but they really don't offer a true explanation of the purpose of that money because they never talk about debt in typical financial planning. It's just what everybody has. Remember that game of life when we were kids, that board game called the Game of Life? Well, if you look at that game board, and I show that to people, on that game board, there's like 7 or 8 different spaces that have debt on those spaces. So in my mind, it was the beginning of brainwashing young people to accept debt as a way of life. What is the message, the example? Remember, I talked about the first professional talk that I gave was be the example. And we have people all around us, whether you admit it or not, they are in a position that garners our attention and we follow them. In other words, they're in such a prominent position that they're doing this. So I guess if I do that, it's okay. And the message that we get from Washington is the debt is just, it's just the way that when you don't have enough money, go borrow some. If you don't have enough money to do what you want to do, go borrow some. And that's wrong. Save 20%, have 50% of your household income in accessible cash. So you can get at it without paying a penalty or a tax to the government or in some way having to put up assets for it or whatever. You have access to this money. If you have access to 50% or equal to 50% of your household income, would you ever have to run a credit card balance? No. Would you need real consumer debt? Remember, what's consumer debt? A mortgage is not consumer debt because I can always sell the house. The property is the collateral for that loan. So it is not something I bought that's going to wear out, depreciate in value, and be worthless, and I'm still paying for it. Everything else falls into that category. Maybe a car holds its value more than anything else, but that's, in my mind, that is even questionable as an automobile because we need transportation. So when we think of that, and then the rule number 3 is no consumer debt. Why do you need to borrow at the bank? Now, if you can't pay for it out of 30 days of income, then my father-in-law, Rudy, you don't need it. That was the way he was. He never made a lot of money. Sometimes he worked 2 jobs. My dad was the same way. My dad worked 2 and 3 jobs. And they just, if you didn't have the money, you didn't buy it. And that is the discipline of delayed gratification. Delayed gratification is an absolute necessity for financial success, because a lot of people, they believe they have, well, I deserve this. I work hard every day and I just deserve this. So I'm going to go buy it and then I'll worry about how I'm going to pay for it. You know what, folks? With all my heart, that was me 40 years ago. I had that attitude. You know, success and winning in life, number one, you got to change the way you think. And what goes right along with the way you think is your attitude. You have to adjust your attitude. And I pray from my heart, please don't take me wrong in what I'm saying. I'm not pointing at you. It just, if it fits, wear it. But what it is, it was me. I'm talking about me. You know, when I was at the bottom of the pit 29 years ago and everything was closing in, I couldn't pay the bills. I get down on my knees and I prayed to the Lord. And when I did that and I turned myself over to him, it's when Jody came into my life and some things started to happen and I had an awakening. I had an awakening to the belief that it was up to me, but I could do it. Because up until that point in time, I didn't believe I could do it. I didn't believe I was worthy enough because I looked at myself in this negative attitude, negative light, an attitude. Man, I had an attitude. Don't tell me what to do. I know what to do. Well, I was wrong. And I wish in some way I could help you understand that. You know, the blueprint that I'm developing and have put together is all part of this. I mean, Donna listens every day to what I say on here and compiles the information for me as we create this next phase of the financial mastery coaching, which is the game board. We actually have a game board. We're creating a game board to learn how to play the game of financial mastery and to achieve the CFO status in your household. That's number 4. You know, you reach a point where you have started to master some of the information and now you start to teach it and you apply it with your children and people around you. That's the challenge I have for everybody. Are you ready to accept the challenge? I have struggled so hard in the beginning with this and other times in my life, you know, growing up, you know, my dad had an 8th grade education. I loved him dearly. You know, he never beat me, never, you know, even though I caused lots of challenges when I was a teenager and in school. And it just, there was love in the house, but their thinking was broke mentality. And many of us have broke mentality. The kind of things I'm talking about add to that broke mentality. I know where some of you are at. I've been there. But I made a decision. And it was funny because one of that, here's a new Thomism for you. There's no quit in my DNA. I just last Friday passed a college exam that was the 3rd of 3 to get new initials, Retirement Income Certified Professional. I just completed the course and passed all the exams and I'm waiting to receive my certification. But I took that last test I took last Friday. That was the 4th time I took that test. It was not an easy test, but I was not going to quit and I was not going to give up. I was going to pass that test. You need to have that kind of determination in your life. It's just like self-talk. I've talked about that. I know I have the ability to achieve the object of my definite purpose in life. Therefore, I demand of myself persistent, continuous action toward its attainment. How bad do you want it, folks? You got to want it bad. because in your journey to get it, you will change the lives of many people around you by chasing your dream. You got to do it. It's what we were put here for. Everybody has a unique ability and a purpose in life. Remember I said there's 2 dates, the day you were born and the day you figured out why. We spend our lifetime chasing this thing, and what's in between birth and the end is life. And with that is not how you react to it, it's how you learn how to respond. Because reacting to it is from an attitude problem. So if you react to things, you need to step back and look at yourself in the mirror and say, well, where's my attitude at? Because everything that comes at us is a challenge to become better by. It is a learning experience. You can either choose to learn from it or react to it over and over and over again. Because if you don't learn from it, it will come back at you and it will be, and you'll have the same results. We talked about actuarial yesterday as an advanced principle. And it's actually looking at statistics around us. There is no such thing as never. You know, I'm 70 years old. I would not do well if my goal was to become a pro football player. I don't think I'm going to become a pro football player. So let's be realistic. I'm not going to become a professional golfer. As much as I work at and practice, I don't hit 1,000 golf balls a day, every day, like pros do. Some things are there, and I really enjoy playing golf. I may get angry in a moment, but it's next. I move on. I hate playing with people that can't let the last bad shot go, because everybody has bad shots. All you got to do is watch the pro level golf. These guys are worth millions of dollars. They win millions of dollars, and they still double and triple bogey. They still screw up. They still chunk one once in a while. I just make them more often, but they make the same kind of mistakes. But their good things are more consistent than mine are, and I refuse to give up. That brings me to multiply. You know, we'll touch on these over and over and over again this week. Today's Wednesday, so we have 2 more days, and I'm going to work on these things more and more and more. And the next one is multiply. Now, what do I mean by multiply? I can't multiply my money. You know, if I've got money earning 6% or 5 or 4 or 3 or 2% interest or whatever it's earning, there it is. It's doing that. I want to be able to position my dollars in ways that I can get more than one use out of each dollar. Maybe $1, I can use it 2, 3, or even 4 times before it passes through my life. So depending on where I place my money, I want to be able to leverage, which is the next one. We'll get into that in more detail tomorrow, but I want to talk this multiply your money. Now, here's an example. Now, we've talked about dividend-paying mutual life insurance as a place to develop and create an emergency and an opportunity fund. I mean, all the big businesses and banks in the world, they use this stuff to keep their most precious money in that needs to be kept the safest. Even the Federal Reserve tells the member banks that this product has the least chance of failure or default. I would want to know that. So now I position money in this specifically designed mutual life insurance company, mutual policy with a dividend-paying life insurance company where I'm a shared owner. I'm an owner in the company because of having this insurance contract. And as that cash value develops inside that contract, I can use that death benefit someday that ever increases. I can use the cash value to leverage. which we'll talk more in detail tomorrow, but I just want to paint you a picture because we're 20 minutes out and I'm wrapping up. But I put $1 into the life insurance, and after the first couple of years, it creates an equal dollar of cash value. I can go to the insurance company and I can borrow against that cash value. So I'm going to make a loan from the insurance company, and because they have my cash value as collateral in the contract, there is no stipulated payments. The payback is up to me. And I encourage people and coach people to be an honest banker and pay it back with interest, so you capture the opportunity cost that would have been lost. So I'm going to take that money and I'm going to use it to pay a mortgage payment on a duplex, on a piece of real estate. Now the real estate's going to pay me rent. Now you get the idea. In other words, $1 here, I've now moved it 3 times without attracting any income tax, without attracting any risk in what I'm doing. So it's understanding that there are ways to multiply your money. And the result long-term is far greater than any compound interest that you would get anyplace else. So with that, I'm going to wrap up. I'm getting longer-winded every day. But from my heart, folks, what I have learned in the last 29 years, my dream and goal is to share it with 1 million people before I die. This is the medium that I believe I can do that with, but I need your help. I need you to share these with other people so that they join the Family Money Farm group. There's no cost. My purpose is to change your future. You know, I meet people all the time and they say, gee, I wish I'd have met you 20 years ago. Well, I don't have a time machine. We can't go back. But we can surely do from today forward is change the end result, change the future, increase the future, make it look better, bring certainty to the table, guarantees to the table, enjoyment and coaching to the table to encourage you to continue to search for that unique ability, that thing, your purpose here. Because I can assure you, when you find it, it will truly change your life and the people around you's lives at the same time. Get my book, The Family Money Farm, The CFO Project. Go to Amazon, Barnes & Noble, any other big bookseller, you can pick up my book. You can get it through me. You can send an email, contact me through Facebook. We'll get it to you that way. I'll send you a PayPal, pay for it through PayPal. It's $20 plus tax and shipping. And so there it is. Now you can also go to cfo-project.com, above my head here, and put in your name and email address, and you'll get a link and you'll be able to download my book for free. Download it onto your computer, download it onto your telephone. You can read it that way. But when you go there, there is opportunity there, folks. And I'm telling you, there is an opportunity to invest in your future. Spend $47 and get access to 4 more books. Life Insurance, Will It Pay When I Die? Jumpstart Your Financial Freedom. Live Your Life Insurance by Kim Butler. And Nelson Books, The Infinite Banking Concept, Part 1. Not the whole book. Part 1 is the concept. All the rest of the book are illustrations, and I have David Stern's permission to provide Part 1 of that book to you. You can buy the whole book through me, again, with an email, and we can provide the book. They're $20 plus tax and shipping to get the book itself. And the secret is you get a 1-hour video. You get access to my 1-hour video called The Secret to Wealth Creation. And that secret is there. There are 3 parts to this video. Talks about the usdebtclock.org. And if you don't understand that, you need to go to usdebtclock.org. And when you, every time you click on a number, there's a little box that'll come on and tell you what you're doing, what it is. It will blow you away what the politicians have done to our future. There is just no way to describe what the elite lifetime politicians have done to our future. I don't necessarily like Donald Trump, but I like what he's doing. He is making changes. And another politician that has been there for 40 years is going to be same old, and things have got to change big time in Washington, D.C. That's all I'll say. It's my political talk for today. With that, God bless. We'll see you tomorrow at noon.